I stand before you to champion a cause that lies at the very heart of human progress. The belief that education is not just a priority, but the foremost foundation upon which our collective future rests. In a world teeming with challenges and opportunities alike, education stands as the beacon of hope, the catalyst for change, and the key that unlocks the door to a brighter tomorrow. As we embark on this journey of exploration, let us first pause to ponder. What does it truly mean to prioritize education? Is it simply about attending classes, completing assignments, and earning degrees? Or does it extend beyond the confines of traditional classroom, encompassing a lifelong commitment to learning, growth, and self-improvement?
Consider the transformative power of education in the lives of individuals across the globe. From the impoverished child in a remote village gaining access to basic literacy skills, to the aspiring scientist conducting groundbreaking research in a state-of-the-art laboratory, education has the unparalleled ability to uplift, empower, and inspire. So, I ask you, what role does education play in shaping your own journey? How has it impacted your perspective, broadened your horizons, and empowered you to pursue your dreams? And perhaps most importantly, how can we collectively ensure that education remains accessible, equitable, and inclusive for all?
The answers to these questions lie in recognizing education as a fundamental human right, a cornerstone of democracy, social justice, and economic prosperity. It requires a concerted effort to break down barriers, dismantle systemic inequalities, and create pathways for lifelong learning that transcend age, gender, ethnicity, and socioeconomic status. As we contemplate the importance of education, let us also acknowledge the profound emotional impact it has on individuals and communities alike. Education is more than just the acquisition of knowledge. It is a journey of self-discovery, empowerment, and fulfillment. It instills within us a sense of purpose, resilience, and hope for the future.
Consider the joy of a child mastering a new concept, the pride of a parent witnessing their offspring's academic achievements, or the sense of fulfillment that comes from realizing one's full potential. Education has the power to transform lives, uplift communities, and bridge the gaps that divide us. So, my friends, I urge you to reflect on the emotional significance of education in your own lives. How has it shaped your identity, influenced your aspirations, and shaped the trajectory of your future? And how can we cultivate a culture that celebrates the inherent value of education as more than just a means to an end, but as a journey of personal and collective growth?
The answers to these questions lie in fostering a supportive learning environment that nurtures the whole individual, mind, body, and spirit. It requires educators who are not just instructors, but mentors, guides, and champions of student success. It demands a curriculum that is not just focused on rote memorization, but on critical thinking, creativity, and empathy. As we contemplate the emotional dimensions of education, let us also recognize the role of empathy and compassion in creating inclusive learning community. Education is not a one-size-fits-all endeavor. It requires an understanding of diverse backgrounds, learning styles, and lived experiences.
So, I ask you, how can we cultivate empathy and understanding in our educational institutions? How can we create spaces where every student feels seen, heard, and valued for who they are? And how can we empower educators to embrace cultural responsiveness, trauma-informed practices, and restorative justice approaches in their teaching? The answers to these questions lie in fostering a culture of belonging, one where diversity is celebrated, equity is prioritized, and inclusion is woven into the fabric of everyday life. It requires intentional efforts to dismantle the barriers that hinder access to education for marginalized communities, be it through systemic reforms, targeted interventions, or community partnerships.
As we reflect on the importance of empathy in education, let us also acknowledge the role of resilience in the face of adversity. Education is not without its challenges. From budget cuts and resource constraints to societal prejudices and systemic inequities. Yet it is precisely in the face of these obstacles that our collective resolve is tested and our commitment to educational excellence is forged. So I ask you, how do we cultivate resilience in the face of adversity? How can we empower students to overcome obstacles, persevere in the pursuit of their goals, and emerge stronger on the other side? And how can we support educators in their tireless efforts to navigate the complexities of the educational landscape?
The answers to these questions lie in fostering a culture of resilience, one that celebrates failure as a necessary stepping stone to success, embraces challenges as opportunities for growth, and cultivates a sense of grit and determination in the face of adversity. It requires a collective commitment to providing the support, resources, and encouragement needed to thrive in the pursuit of educational excellence. As we contemplate the importance of resilience in education, let us also acknowledge the role of innovation and adaptability in shaping the future of learning. The world is evolving at an unprecedented pace, with advancements in technology, globalization, and social change reshaping the landscape of education as we know it.
So I ask you, how can we harness the power of innovation to revolutionize education for the 21st century and beyond? How can we leverage emerging technologies, interdisciplinary approaches, and experiential learning opportunities to engage students in meaningful ways? And how can we ensure that our educational systems are nimble, flexible, and responsive to the needs of a rapidly changing world? The answers to these questions lie in embracing a mindset of lifelong learning, one that values curiosity, adaptability, and a willingness to embrace change. It requires a shift away from traditional models of education towards more dynamic, student-centered approaches that empower learners to take ownership of their educational journey.
As we reflect on the importance of innovation in education, let us also acknowledge the role of collaboration and partnership in driving meaningful change. Education is not the responsibility of any single individual or institution. It is a collective endeavor that requires the collective efforts of educators, policymakers, parents, students, and community stakeholders alike. So, I ask you, how can we foster collaboration and partnership to advance the cause of education? How can we break down silos, build bridges across sectors, and leverage the expertise of diverse stakeholders to create transformative change? And how can we ensure that the voices of those most impacted by educational inequities are centered in decision-making processes?
The answers to these questions lie in fostering a culture of collaboration, one that prioritizes communication, transparency, and mutual respect. It requires a commitment to listening to diverse perspectives, engaging in difficult conversations, and working together towards shared goals. As we contemplate the importance of collaboration in education, let us also acknowledge the role of advocacy and activism in driving systemic change. Education is a fundamental human right, yet millions of children around the world continue to be denied access to quality education due to poverty, conflict, discrimination, and other systemic barriers.
So, I ask you, how can we leverage our collective voice and power to advocate for educational equity and justice? How can we hold policymakers and decision-makers accountable for ensuring that every child has access to a quality education, regardless of their background or circumstances? And how can we amplify the voices of those most impacted by educational inequities to drive meaningful change? The answers to these questions lie in harnessing the power of advocacy, one that is grounded in principles of justice, equity, and solidarity. It requires a commitment to speaking truth to power, challenging the status quo, and advocating for policies and